Anwar Ibrahim dia tidak layak langsung untuk jadi Perdana Menteri kerana daripada tahun 1999 sampai 2004 dia dipenjara. Dan semasa 2004 sampai hari ini, apa perkara dia buat? Dia hanya buat demo, hanya buat fitnah, hanya bangkitkan rakyat untuk benci kerajaan saja.
On the morning of the 29th of June, 2008, the country was shocked with news of Anwar Ibrahim, the former Deputy Prime Minister who was sacked, sought refuge at the Turkish embassy for alleged involvement in a sodomy case. This was his second. From the embassy, which he took refuge for 2 days, Anwar issued a statement which was posted on his blog that he was fleeing from the Barisan National agents who wanted to kill him because of the threats posed by his Reformation movement to the Malaysian government. Behind this drama, questions were raised by the public as to why Anwar chose to seek refuge at the Turkish embassy. From the information gathered, we found that Anwar's visit to the Turkish embassy became more frequent since the year 2000, but his relations with a Turkish politician leader with potential to take over the country's leadership became closer in the 1980s. Both of them attended youth conferences and academic functions held in Saudi Arabia. They also organized functions which were financed by the Saudi Arabians together. Despite differences in ideology, they shared the same goal, which was to introduce a radical modern Islamic government. Some 30 years later, the Justice and Development Party led by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, popularly known as Erdogan, won big in Turkey and was made Prime Minister. Erdogan was seen as smart in bringing Islamic secularism, and this made Anwar, after being sacked from UMNO, more confident to implement a similar policy through an affiliation with PAS. PAS, thinking that it could use Anwar, had opened its doors wide to Anwar. But Anwar was able to get his confidant Kamaruddin Jafar as the party Secretary General. Anwar was able to infiltrate elements of Erdogan in PAS, in the likes of Hussam, Ahmad Sabu, and Khalid Samad. It was crucial that he also had control of Harakah, the PAS mouthpiece.
Apa pandangan Anwar tentang PAS, in particular as a political party? Walaupun sebagai associate, as a political party, banyak juga kenyataan-kenyataan Anwar yang disampaikan kepada saya. Kenyataan-kenyataan itu negatif, bukan negatif lagi. I think sangat negatif. Bacaan dia kepada PAS ni parti yang ekstrim. Misalnya, bacaan dia terhadap PAS ni parti yang diterajui oleh ulama-ulama yang pikirannya terhad, tak dapat meninjau pikiran yang jauh, tak dapat bercerita tentang Renaissance, kan Asian Renaissance dia, tak dapat berhujah di peringkat antarabangsa dan sebagainya.
With the presence of the Erdogans or Anwarizations in PAS, Anwar no longer had to defend himself in his personal moral issues, as the PAS leaders had made themselves his shield, and this was more convincing to the public.
Saya sebagai dikatakan orang dalam, jadi saya dapat melihat perkara-perkara ini dan saya dapat letakkan, I can extrapolate benda ni dalam hubungan dia dengan PAS. Okey, hubungan dia dengan PAS, kalau dalam bahasa yang ringan saya nak gunakan, hubungan pada saya yang hubungan for political expediency, more of political expedient rather than anything else. Untuk politik, untuk berjaya dalam pilihan raya, untuk membolehkan aku ke Putrajaya, untuk aku ditabarkan menjadi Prime Minister, yes, aku hormati PAS. Aku agaknya memandang tinggi kepada PAS. Yes, aku perlukan PAS, aku perlukan gandingan dengan PAS.
In carrying his propaganda, Anwar was assisted by another friend in the Turkish cabinet, a person trusted by Foreign Minister Ahmad Davutoglu, an intellectual and a professor at the University of Malaya. He was involved in the Malaysian political conspiracy through politics and the media. Through that too, Anwar financed the Turkish people to come to Malaysia to assist him. Anwar and Erdogan, despite their differing ideology, shared the same objective: to promote a circular Islam which is modern and liberal. They were supported by Prince Nayef from Saudi Arabia, who saw them as the frontliners to bringing their countries into the Wahhabi group. The prince never stopped contributing for their cause. Anwar and Erdogan not only shared in terms of financing, but also media operations by using the same campaign strategy. sponsoring Western journalists for holidays to Istanbul and Kuala Lumpur to influence them. Erdogan was Anwar's guest when the latter was Deputy Prime Minister, and together they organized conferences in Kuala Lumpur and Istanbul in 1990 to promote modern Islam. Istanbul is also a second home for Anwar until today. They use organizations under their patronage like the Global Peace Mission, the Union of NGOs of the Islamic World, the Future Global Network, the World Futures Online, the World Civilization Research Group, the Center for the Study of Islam and Democracy to carry out their operations outside Malaysia, like in Turkey, London, and the United States.
Kerana kita sedia maklum, ada satu badan NGO, kononnya NGO, Sualam itu ambil satu peranan yang begitu penting sekali. Dan saya dapati daripada sumber dalam, setiap tahun ada 50 juta ringgit Malaysia disalurkan dari Sualam ke PKR untuk jalankan aktiviti. Oleh itu, dia orang tidak hadapi masalah langsung tentang dari segi kewangan. Dan dari mana Sualam dapat wang itu? Dari 9 yayasan di Amerika Syarikat, England dan Arab Saudi.
Al Baraka Bank, which is the source of Anwar's financial strength, was also a supporter of Erdogan and had an office in Istanbul for that very purpose. Through Al Baraka and networking which sponsored them, Anwar Erdogan financed the radical Islamic movement in other countries. When America initiated investigations into the International Institute of Islamic Thought, the channel for Anwar's money laundering, the institution began transferring its assets to Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Anwar also began dissolving several NGOs formed in the United States. After his release from prison, Anwar began rebuilding his wealth and political influence with the help of Saudi Arabia and Erdogan. Through an extensive networking including NGOs, proxy accounts, savings and financing opportunities, Anwar was able to do it fast. Hence, it is not surprising when he fled to seek refuge at the Turkish embassy when he was charged with sodomy. Some politicians are able to cover their tracks better than others.
Dari parti kita tubuhkan ada 32 orang sebagai mengasas parti, ya. Dan hingga hari ini saya hanya tinggal 3 orang, Wan Azizan dan beberapa orang lagi, dan Tian Chua. Kenapa kita tinggalkan dia? Kerana kita nampak perjuangan itu bukan perjuangan yang jujur. Dia perjuangan ke arah hanya kepada seorang aja. Oleh itu saya nampak keadilan asas dengan keadilan sekarang ataupun PKR dia berlainan. Kerana setiap mesyuarat yang kita putuskan di jawatan kuasa pusat tidak guna pakai kerana Anwar Ibrahim dia boleh tukar segala-galanya. Dan oleh itu saya nampak parti ini ialah parti keluarga dan sia-sia kita berjuang untuk dia.